right. Hey guys, welcome back to our continuing coverage of the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo right here at booth 1677. We're broadcasting from Podcast Central all weekend long. Have a very, very special guest here in the booth with us from Impact Theory, the one and the only Mr. Tom Bilyeu. How's it going, man?
Good, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming back. You were, we got to make this an annual thing, I think.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
You sat down with us last year. We were talking about your book, Neon Future.
Yes.
And you got a new book, Hexagon, that I want to talk about in just a minute. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about Impact Theory as a whole.
Yeah.
The whole media conglomerate that is Impact Theory, specifically the YouTube channel. I mean, you get some amazing, amazing guests on your YouTube channel. Please tell us, like, what's it like behind the scenes over at Impact Theory? How's that work?
It is incredible, man. You're right. We've had some of the most extraordinary humans on the planet come onto the show and grace us with their knowledge and just their badassery. So that's been amazing. Behind the scenes, we have a whole team. We've got about 25 people that do that show. I do 3 shows, and then my wife has a show herself. For a while, we were doing a show together. So we create a lot of shows there on YouTube. We're now going to be expanding and including people that aren't my wife or I. So that'll be an interesting crop of stuff that we'll probably start doing late in 2020, maybe early 2021. And then we've got a whole division for the comic books, and we're about to make a huge announcement in terms of our investment into film and TV. We'll do that probably June or July. We'll make that announcement.
You sure you don't want to make the announcement right here on the Chuckletter Comic Show?
I'm sure we're not quite ready.
Because we got a really good platform, and we got a little audience right here. It'd be a good place for it.
We do, yeah.
So, I mean, God, last time I was on the channel, you had John Travolta on there. You had Kathy Bates on there. Do you have a favorite guest you've ever had on the show? Which one really stands out to you?
Let's talk about John Travolta. So first of all, man, if anybody out there thinks he is amazing, can I just drive that deep into your soul? That man is so kind. He is such a good dude. And he's one of those guys when you meet, you're like, oh, this is why you're famous. Like, imagine being an icon. Like, that dude, he isn't just famous. He is an icon. Like, if you want to encapsulate the 70s in a single image, you're going to use him from Saturday Night Fever. It's just that simple. And so being like that iconic as a living legend, and to be as kind as he is, as charismatic as he is, that was a lot of fun. Literally, my mother-in-law flew from England for the episode. My mom flew from Tacoma, Washington. Show shot in L.A., and they were just flipping out. And he walks in, and he's like, Tommy boy! Like, we had known each other our entire lives. He was so generous and so sweet, and such a great interview with so many cool insights, and literally walked in and just took that place over, kicked me out of my own seat, took my seat because he was like, you have better lighting, Tommy boy. Yeah. It was just so cool. He was so rad. Like, for somebody to come in and really own the space like that and make me laugh and love it, I was like, all right, this dude is slick.
Right.
He's very cool.
Well, guys, if you guys haven't seen Impact Theory on YouTube, definitely check it out. I mean, your viewership is growing exponentially, I mean, every single day. But you also, part of the Impact Theory is the comic books side. I mean, last time, like I said before, you were here talking about Neon Future. My friend Andrea, you read Neon Future?
I've read the first issue last year, yes. And actually, I do have a question for you.
Yeah, please.
If it was, so the first issue starts with the war between the augmented and the authentic.
Yes.
The augmented are the ones who choose to implement technology into their bodies. Would you choose to do that in real life to save the world?
Well, to save the world, it really becomes an easy answer. And yes, of course. But even so, I don't think it is going to come down to in real life will somebody save the world with technology. But I do plan to be augmented. I think this is a real thing that is actually going to happen. If you look at what's happening, there's really 2 companies that are at the forefront of computer brain interfacing. You've got Elon Musk, who's got a company. You've got another guy who's a guest on our show called Brian Johnson, a company called Kernel, also doing human computer interfacing. And so it is going to happen. Yeah. So now it's a question of who's going to be an early adopter. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not going to be an early adopter.
No?
I will wait until
you're not going to be the guinea pig.
But yeah, I will do it for sure. So I think I honestly believe it's the only way forward.
All right.
So you got the new book coming out, Hexagon. This is the big push here at C2E2. I've seen a lot of people walking around with the Hexagon book under their arms, walking around the show floor. What can you tell us about the new book?
Man, I'm so excited about this one. So had an epiphany probably about 18 months ago. There's a guy named Jeffrey Canada, amazing story. I promise to get back to Hexagon at the end of this.
Please.
But if I can just derail for a second. So start seeing this guy, Jeffrey Canada, really, really smart guy, grew up in Harlem during the crack epidemic, and he says, yo, this is a problem of education. I'm going to get a full ride to Harvard University. I'm going to come back and I'm going to fix education. Does it, gets back into education, and realizes you can't solve the problem from inside. He's gone on to do all this extraordinary stuff, but he has this line that has haunted me for a very long time. And he said, if you want to solve like real societal problems, you have to give up on adults. And I was like, youch, like
Yes,
that
I
hurts.
agree.
And he was like, you have to focus on kids. And I just did not want, so my whole thesis, it's called impact theory, because my theory on how to impact people at scale is through narrative. You have to tell stories that hit people on a limbic level, an emotional level, and from there you can really have influence. And then I start looking, so the comic book industry is being disrupted, I think, to say the least, and looking for somebody who's doing it well, you're going to end up in Japan. And so I go to Japan, I'm looking at what they're doing, and I realize that they're very clear about what they call the shonen group, which is, it literally translates as the few years. It's 11 to 15, and that's where they put all of their energy. And so you put Jeffrey Canada together with the fact that they just focus on that shonen age group, and that feeds into their adult readership. They have tons of adult readers, but they understand that you have to constantly, like every day someone is now 11, and every day someone ages out of the 15 age group. And so by really focusing on telling rad stories there, you can have the impact. So there's this book called A Billion Wicked Thoughts. Now, for anybody that knows me, I'm obsessed with this book.
That sounds like a long book.
Dude, it's not. It's not. It's all about, so you had these Google engineers who were like, no one will be honest about what their actual sexual preferences are. And when you ask them, even if you tell them, look, the data that we're collecting will never be shared with anybody, people still lie. And so they were like, how do you solve this problem? They're like, wait a second, somebody's actually already solved this problem. It's called your Google searches. And so they went through like just an ungodly number of searches to find patterns. And what they began to realize was something that I think the Japanese really understand, which is there really is a fundamental difference between the way that boys think and girls think, men and women think. And so the Japanese are just unapologetic. They make a book for boys, they make a book for girls, they make a book for adult men, they make a book for adult women, and nary the twain shall meet. They do not try to blend them together. And so I'm reading this book and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And they talk about this thing called the Age of Imprinting. And wouldn't you know it, it's 11 to 15. So I'm like, okay, we have this whole concept again. So that brings us back around to Hexagon. So I'm like, hey, we've got this amazing story, Neon Future, but it is clearly for adults. We need to tell something in that age range. And so we reallocated our resources. Now about 85% of the stories we tell are aimed at that 11 to 15-year-old range. I think it breaks sort of naturally into two age groups. You've got 11 to 13 and 13 to 15. And so we're doing that, and Hexagon is our first foray into that. It's to give you like a quick synopsis. It's about a young boy. It's set in the 80s. He's obsessed with arcades, but his dad won't let him play, and he doesn't know why. His dad travels a lot for business. One night, his dad is away on business to impress a girl. He sneaks out, and on his first quarter ever, beats a game that everyone considered unbeatable. And in that moment, he triggers an alien invasion.
It's Flight of the Navigator. It's
Come on. What is it?
I know what it is.
Yes, you do.
It's The Last Starfighter.
There you go.
The Last
So
Starfighter.
it is literally a nod to Last Starfighter in the way that it kicks off. And he gets sucked into this intergalactic battle, and he realizes that his dad is an alien, and thusly he is an alien, begins to understand why he doesn't have a mother, and like everything just begins to unfold, and he realizes that his life on Earth has been to protect him from being discovered, and he's sort of the last child of this planet called Hexagon, and the kids of Hexagon can commune with the planet. And so the people that took over the planet were trying to find this last kid to unlock the power of the planet. And so he's now on the run, and they've got his dad, and he has to try to get him back. But to do that, he has to, of course, face like his greatest fear, which is basically being the person to save the planet. So
I love this story.
No pressure at all for this kid.
Well, so this is written by Michael Morisi, and let me tell you, that guy knows how to handle a story in this age group. Absolutely phenomenal writers, worked on a bunch of Star Wars stuff. He had one of the top indie books of 2019. I mean, The Plot. Just a rad writer, and so really excited to have paired up with him. And the artist on this book, Jeremy Rapak, Brazilian guy, he's ridiculous. So the art is amazing, the writing is fantastic, and we give away the first issue. Like, I'm not trying to trick people into buying it. It's like, this is rad. It will sell itself. It's the crack model. We give the first one away for free. We know you will come back for more. So yeah, we're super excited about the book.
Well, I mean, I assume the movie rights have already been sold.
Dude, so we try to retain everything. So I know that people in the comic industry do not love the relationship between comics and film and TV,
right.
but until people start buying more comics, that relationship is going to exist. So that's part of our play is, we make comics to be comics, but we also have an eye towards translating it to more mass media.
Yeah.
So we're super excited to get this turned into a film. We partnered with a world famous DJ by the name of Don Diablo.
Don Diablo, yeah.
And really, really excited to be in partnership with him. He did a clothing line with Lucasfilm. It was a whole Star Wars collab. This guy is like sci-fi until he dies. So it's really been a super cool collaboration.
It's a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Kyra, I know you had a couple questions about you can't sit around with Tom Bilyeu and not talk a little bit about Quest bars
So
and
much. I guess I know so many people look up to you, and just what would be your advice to a young entrepreneur, a young mind out there who wants to seek something bigger than themselves and having, an impact?
Right.
What would be your
You
key?
really want to shift into that gear?
Kind
we
of,
can
yeah.
get hard on that shit. Now I'm going to start
comics,
swearing.
but
All right, now you guys are bringing it out.
Yeah.
So here's the reality, boys and girls. If you want to do something extraordinary with your life, you're going to have to accept that currently you are hopelessly average. And the reason that your life is not what you want it to be is the way that humans are built is you've got to get good. And so achieving something great is about outperforming other people. And most people just are not prepared to do the work that you're going to have to do to get great.
Right.
Now, the big breakthrough for me was realizing, hey, I'm hopelessly average, but I'm a hopelessly average human. Now, every species has to make a decision. You're either going to pre-program everything, so a horse, literally an hour after it's born, it's up, walking around, running around, and that just isn't true of humans. We take another path, which is that there's a layer of culture that's going to feed your brain. You're going to adapt to the environment that you're in, regardless of what that is. Now, people get it as a kid, right? You're born a lump of flesh. You can't hold your own head up. You poo in your own diapers. Like, you literally have to be taken care of for years before you're self-sufficient. And people understand as a kid you can develop, but they think as an adult you can't. But you can. So it certainly is, you're more easily adaptable as a child, but it is insane the amount that you can adapt as an adult. So the literature would suggest it's about 50-50. 50% of who you are is hardwired. You're not going to do anything to change it. 50% though is malleable. And what you can do with your life if you take control of that 50% that's malleable. So I took myself from being broke in an unfurnished one-bedroom apartment to building $1 billion business on the back of going, all right, motherfucker, like, you just have to buckle down. You're going to have to work long, hard, and smart. You're going to have to get better every day relentlessly, and you're going to have to take responsibility for everything in your life. Everything. The fact that you suck with women, that's bad on you. The fact that you don't know anything about business, that's bad on you. Yep. And if you want to get good, you're going to have to read every day. You're going to have to push yourself every day. You're going to have to demand more from yourself. And that is like the message that we're telling people right now is, yo, you're okay. Love yourself as you are. Fuck that. Like, if you want to be great, you're going to have to challenge yourself every day. You're going to have to push yourself. And I get it. Like, some people don't want that life, and that's okay. Like, I don't have a moral judgment on that. Like, you don't have any moral obligation to ride like I ride.
Right.
But if you want to achieve the kind of thing that I've achieved, then you're going to have to ride like I ride. And people are always like, Tom, like, if I'm working hard and smart, why do I also have to work long hours?
Right.
And my answer is because you're going up against me, and I'm doing all three. So it's like, you're going to be up against the greatest of the greats. And if you want your name to ring through history, you've got to get better. Right. And you have to put yourself in a position where your brain says, all right, it's adapt or die. And that's it. And there's this guy named Mark Laurie. He's had multiple billion-dollar companies. This dude is unreal. And he has this concept he calls billions or body bags. And he was like, I just back myself against the wall. And it's either this company is going to be worth billions or I'm leaving in a body bag. And that's it. And it's like, if you want to know the path to greatness, it doesn't have to be money. But like, whatever your thing is, the greatest comic of all time, the greatest movie of all time, dude, you have got to get so good you leave people's jaws on the floor. That's it. Leaving other human beings in awe is the name of the game.
Well, Mr. Rogers, he is not, guys. Tom Bilyeu, kids, you got to get a lot better at what you're doing. Andrea, I know you had maybe one more question. I saw you writing a couple things down over there. You got anything?
No, I took notes. If you want your name to ring through history, I like that.
That's good.
I'll keep this.
Well, Tom, I can't thank you enough. I mean, for everything you just unloaded, not only on us, but on everybody. We've gathered a crowd out here right now. So, guys, definitely Impact Theory. Find them on YouTube. The whole Impact Theory media conglomerate empire that you're building. Hexagon's the new book. Where can people find you while you're at the con to get their free copy of Hexagon?
Yes, we are booth 249. 249.
Right.
You're right over there by the Marvel crew and that whole
Yes,
gang
we're
over
also
there.
by the Tower of T-shirts.
Tower of
so you
Ts.
can find us
Okay.
literally from across the entire con.
Oh, he's got one right
Oh,
up there.
he's
Okay,
got
we
one
already got one.
there.
There it is. Boom.
Well,
Hexagon.
Tom, there's about 9 million people here that want to talk to you, so I want to really appreciate you for coming around, giving us a little bit of your time,
Thanks for
and
having me.
laying this amazing stuff on us, guys. So
Wow.
we're just getting started here at C2E2, guys. We're here all week, and we got a lot more guests coming up all day. So keep it locked right here on YouTube, Chuckload of Comics, for all the great shows we're doing all weekend. So, Tom Bilyeu, have a great con,
Thanks, guys. You too.
and we'll see you all around the con floor. Have a good day.
Peace out.
you.